Well, we decided to take a break today from our normal running around in nature and exploring to sit inside the RV to share some items with you. And it's a little warm out there today, but we've got the air conditioner on full blast, so we hope that that keeps us a little bit cooler than we are right now.
Yeah, so we're going to share 5 items that we either use ourselves or we think would be very useful to you.
So first up is this little thing. This is called a Govi. And what it does is it basically sits on the wall. I connect to it with Bluetooth to program it and to get data from it to my app, and it connects to Wi-Fi. And so when we're out and about different places, this will send alerts to our phones to let us know if a temperature reaches a certain threshold or if the humidity reaches a certain threshold. And that's quite useful. I'll talk about that in a minute, but it's also kind of handy just to be able to check the temperature. Yeah. Just if we're curious, wherever we're at, we can see what the temperature and humidity is doing inside the RV.
Yeah, it's just a compact little way to have a thermometer and humidity gauge on the wall, and then the added bonus is that you can check it remotely when you're out. So that really helps if you have a pet. Many of you know we have our dog Barkley, and we tend to leave him a little bit more now that he's getting older. He's deaf, he's losing his sight, and he's just not as excited about going with us as he once was. So he prefers to stay back in the RV, and it really gives us a peace of mind knowing that, even if we set the air conditioner, if it goes, doesn't come on for some reason, this will alert us that the temperature's gone above where we have it set. Yeah,
and if something happens that it does go above a threshold, say 80 degrees or something like that, and we get a special alert, because we can set that to whatever we want, we'll get a special alert letting us know, and we can call a neighbor or a friend and say, hey, can you just get in there and get Barkley out, or whatever. Typically, we're not going to totally rely on something like this, to be honest. And that is because we pretty much know our RV, we know the temperatures and where we're at, and we try to be in a climate that really doesn't need to have on the heat or the air conditioner, so that Barkley is okay that way. But there are times, of course, when we have to put on the air conditioning, and if that stops, it can get quite warm in there. Mm-hmm. So this is something that can come in handy for that, where we'll get an alert and we can get somebody over to fix that situation so that Barkley's safe.
So this is something that we've been using in our outside compartments to store our water and electric hoses in.
Yeah, we put the cords and stuff in them. But recently Susan came up with a really good idea, I feel like, for these crates that just pop up like this, so when they're not in use they can store flat and just slide in somewhere just out of the way. We typically, when we're moving from one location to the other, we will have, mostly I will have a lot of stuff on the bed that's just thrown on there at the last. When we bring in the slide and the bed's in there, I'll just put a whole bunch of stuff on the bed at the end, mostly things that aren't going to break or anything, but it is kind of an awkward mess to have to deal with every time we stop somewhere and put the slide out or just want to use the bed. And so Susan decided, well, why don't we get another one of these crates and use it to just toss things in that I was normally throwing all over the bed. And so it's a lot more manageable that way. And then when we're done and these things are actually in use, I can stow this. And incidentally, the things that are being thrown on the bed are stuff that I don't normally have stowed somewhere, because they're things that I'll readily use when I am someplace. So this just helps to keep them corralled and everything.
Yeah, it makes it a lot quicker to move them off the bed when we do need to use the bed, and then put them back in the morning when we're ready to travel again. And then I also got another one to use in the kitchen, because there are always things that are out on the kitchen counter that, I do have a place to store them, but sometimes it's difficult to get them in and out, or maybe it's something I'll want to use
Yeah, we just get them
while
right
we're
out
traveling,
as soon as
so
we get
I can
someplace,
just
so.
put them right here in one of these crates, and then we can just put the crate on the couch or on a chair or something and not have to worry about cramming them into a cupboard where they might get more easily broken.
Yeah, we put straps
than in
around them
here.
on the couch or in a chair when we're in motion, and that's worked really well. But they're definitely compact and light and don't take up much room, and the fact that we can just readily pop them up, I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that, does it?
No, I like these things a lot.
All right, who drinks coffee? Probably most people. This is something that we came across years ago and decided to get because it is a lightweight, compact way to make a great cup of coffee. And this is an AeroPress, not to be confused with a French press. This is so much better, and in many cases could even be cheaper. What you basically do is you're going to take a filter and put it into the cap, and then you screw it onto the bottom of the AeroPress, and you're going to put this over the mug. Mugs sold separately. And I'll turn it around this way. And then you're going to go ahead and put in a scoop of coffee. You can use the funnel that it comes with, or you don't need it. You can just go like that. But you're going to scoop in 1 scoop of coffee. Then you're going to heat up some water. And this, maybe if you're camping or whatever you're doing, you can heat up water in any way that you can. I mean, solar, by fire, with propane, with butane, with electric, whatever way you're going to heat up your water. You get your water and you go ahead and pour it over the coffee grounds up to, if you're just making a cup, up to about the number 2 mark there. And then you're going to go ahead and put in this plunger here. You just kind of put it like that, and then you're going to do about a 20 to 30, 40 second, somewhere in there. I usually do about 25-second plunge. And as you're pushing this down, it's going to go ahead and push all of that hot water through that coffee evenly with high pressure. And because the way that this is designed, you can use a very fine ground coffee so that it has more surface area, and it will taste a lot better with a lot less bitterness, unlike other methods. But these things are really neat. They're very low cost, very lightweight, and you don't have to carry the filters around with you. They do make a stainless steel filter that you can put in there and be done with it. I have one of those, but it came with all of these filters here. So if you don't carry that, you don't have to carry the funnel if you don't want to. You can carry your favorite cup, mug, or tumbler, whatever you like to use. And you don't even have to use the scoop if you're good at just pouring the amount of coffee in there. But once you pour in, to just jump back a little bit, when you're making the coffee and it's in there, you just stir it a little bit with this to get it, the hot water swirling around in there, and then you press it. But anyway, it really makes a very good, less bitter, substantially less bitter coffee. So I recommend it. What do you think?
Yeah, and I really like the fact that it's not breakable.
Yeah, there's no glass
it's
or
great
anything.
for RVs. There's no glass, nothing to worry about breaking, and it, like Bernie said, evenly pushes the water over the grounds, making a much better tasting cup of coffee.
Unlike drip and
Yeah.
some of the other, and French press and things like this, where they have maybe a coarser ground and doesn't allow a more surface area. But anyway, it's really good and made in the USA.
And it comes in this nice little carrying case. So this is something that we purchased recently because I don't like ironing. I have a travel size ironing board and an iron, and it's just a real pain to drag it out and try to find some place to set it up, and you know, the clothes are falling in the sink or whatever when I'm trying to get space to iron. And turns out that this is a lot easier to just grab, plug in, and use, and it's in fact so easy that Bernie tends to use it
Yeah,
quite a bit more
I
than
actually
me.
use it more, and I like it. I was a little bit reluctant at first because I thought that it was going to make my clothes look like slept in at best. I really wanted it to be able to get the wrinkles out of shirts, and I've given it a go, and it does a good job. It's not going to do like, you know, a press would or starching clothes or anything like that, but it's going to get them definitely acceptable to where you can go out and it won't look like, hey, your shirt needs to be ironed. You simply just pour some distilled water into the little tank reservoir here, and it will heat up as you push it. There's different settings, and you can go ahead and just steam your clothes with it.
Yeah, and it heats up really very quickly.
It does. It's like seconds, like
yeah,
maybe 15, 20 seconds or something like that.
Within 30 seconds,
yeah,
definitely.
It's
you
definitely
can be
been
steaming.
fast. The thing that I wasn't doing correctly at first is I was just kind of standoffish, because it warns you, you know, to not put it directly on some clothing or what have you, and I didn't want to do anything wrong, like squirt something. But the steam does come out hot, so you don't want it right up against your hand, like putting your hand behind clothes or something isn't going to be a good idea. But I noticed that you actually, in order for the clothes that I've been doing, just typical shirts and stuff, that you actually just have to let it touch the clothing, and then it pushes the steam through it and takes the wrinkles out very nicely. So it's all a matter of the technique, but it does work, and I've been pretty happy with it, and it doesn't take up as much room as an iron and an ironing board.
Right, and it's a lot easier to just grab this and to get all that out.
Yeah, and the fact that your clothes are just hanging up, you can hang them on a hook and do them that way instead of taking up counter space or floor space. We use every bit of space in our RV, so it's really nice to just be able to hang and steam clothes when we need them. Yeah. This is called a fire tote. Now, this is something, when I saw it initially, I thought, wow, that's a pretty neat idea, because we had just talked with people who were picking up bundles of wood at a campground and then had to carry it all the way across the campground with them. And I had run into someone that who has designed or helped design this product, and I approached him. He did not approach me with it. This is something that I thought was really neat, so I investigated a little bit closer. Now, it just looks like a big paper bag. It is really heavy duty, I mean really solid, and what it is a bag that has some tinder and kindling, fat wood as it's called, down in the bottom of it, and you can just go ahead and get the bundle of wood that you purchase and put it in this bag and then carry it back to your campground. And what's neat about it is down here at the bottom, you just go ahead and light the bag and just leave it in the fireplace there in the fire pit, and it will go ahead and ignite, and it's just as easy as that. And I think that that's pretty clever for people who want an easy method, or maybe someone that's not that good at starting fires.
Yeah,
but
I think I could start a fire with that.
and if you just want to keep one with you, if you're just going out for a little bit and you just need your own firewood, they actually have it complete with firewood in a box, and these come in different sizes. And it's the same principle. There's a place to light it down at the bottom here on either side, and it contains the this type of tinder and fat wood down at the bottom, and then there is firewood in here already, and so you can just carry this. This is something that's easy to store. Now, I'm very good at fires. I have a lot of fire science background. I've taught firecraft for many years, and I've had many of successful campfires.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at it, and I've trained with fire when it's needed the most, like when it's pouring down rain or snowing, or it's high humidity, whatever. That's where I like to try to excel at firecraft. But this is good for someone who just wants almost a fire in a box.
Yeah.
All you need is to put the lighter to it, and away you go. Now, some of the things that I would caution with using products like this is that if you leave this out, like if you're in a coastal area and you leave it out, say under your RV or in your campsite or something like that, it could absorb moisture from the damp air. Another thing is that when you light this, light cardboard or you light paper and stuff like that, that type of thing could have a tendency to get airborne much easier than just maybe other traditional ways of lighting fires. So you'll want to be mindful of that. It's really not an issue if you just take precaution, and that just goes with the campfire anyway. You should always take precautions with that and be on guard to extinguish it whenever it's needed. But anyway, this is I think a really easy way for somebody to get a fire going without much effort at all.
Carry your wood. If you've got some loose wood that you want to take with you, this is a lot easier, and you could stack a couple of them in the storage compartment of your RV or something, and know that you've always got everything that you need for your fire. So it's very convenient, I think, and even I could do it.
I like it. Well, those are 5 items that we feel are quite useful. Let us know in the comments if you think any of those would be useful for you, or if there's something similar that you'd like to share with us. We'd love to hear about it.
And don't forget to share, subscribe, and click on the little notification bell.
Thanks for watching.